Hi everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Amy. I go by Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. I am coming to you today with a quilting video. I haven't done this in like a long time. Life has gotten busy. Let's see, today is January 17th, 2024. This is my first quilting video of 2024. I'm really hoping to make these more frequent, but it is what it is. Life got super busy at the end of 2023 with the Queen City Stitch Retreat, and then we just did sign-ups for the 2024 Queen City Stitch Retreat. And of course I started, if you watch me, you know I started my hand-dyed fabric company, Oak Crown Studios, and that's really busy. So I don't have as much crafting time as I used to, but my quilting bug has been like through the roof lately. I don't get nearly as much time with it as I'd like, but I'm doing my best and I'm pretty happy with a lot of the progress I've made. I feel like my inspiration has really been flowing lately. I've been inspired by all the things, like to start new things, to finish old things, to pick out a lot of grabbing old projects that have been around for a while and trying to finish them up. So anyway, my dog is at the groomers. You get to see like my whole messy room, my stitchy spot behind me. Nora Corbett's Rogue Dragon right there. There's like everything. There's chatelaine. Today's chatelaine Wednesday. Hopefully that's coming out later. Anyway, I am not going to try to show everything that I've worked on since I filmed last. I couldn't anyway. Like I just touch way too many things. I'm just gonna try to hit like the highlights, and yeah, let's dive in. I did last fall. I took 4 quilts to the long armor. One of them I'm still waiting to get back because I'm having her do custom quilting on it. It's my Lone Star quilt, and I can't wait to get it back. And honestly, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. This is taking a little while. I hope nothing went wrong. But that's okay. It was holiday season. I'm sure she's just busy. I'm sure everything's fine. But you know, like you want to make sure everything's fine with your creation. I do not, if anybody lives local to me, y'all know I'm in the Pittsburgh area, and you want to know my long armor, message me and I'll let you know. But she doesn't take out of town clients, which is why I'm not like plugging her here, because I think she's got plenty of business, and she's told me she likes making sure she's able to take care of local people first. So, okay, if it's been a while since I picked some of these others up from her, if I'm accidentally showing you a quilt I've already shown you, my apologies. But I'm going to start by showing you the 3 quilts that I believe are the 3 I picked up this fall. I know this is one of them because I just put the binding on the other day. So I got this back from the long armor a while ago, and then I couldn't find the binding I had made for it because binding's small. And so it was in a stack of things, and I couldn't remember what stack I put it in. So this sat for a while, but it's done now. Of course, I can't see what I'm showing you. I'm filming where I am because I thought this might help me be able to show quilts. I don't know. Tell me what you think. So this was a kit I got from the Fat Quarter Shop. This is a panel that has, it's supposed to be like a sample of each Moda solid on it. And when I saw the kit, I was like, oh, well, that's really clever and a great idea. I frequently am like browsing solids and like trying to figure out whether one shade of green is going to be better than a different shade of green is just very difficult. So this seemed like a useful thing to have at my house. It just has these 2 simple borders on it, but also I knew my daughter was going to love it. They're basically just color samples. I knew she'd adore it, and she does. So I just got the binding on this and washed it yesterday. And the quilting, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I have to remember too that if I have the quilt in front of my face, you guys can't hear me as well. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. All right, I'm gonna turn this light on Bear with me a minute when it's gonna get really bright. Ooh, there we go. Does that help at all? Might make things worse. So you can probably see on the front of the blue. See, the quilting is just all these lovely circles, and I think it fits it great. So yeah, that one's done, and it's just a fun throw quilt to have around here. Okay, next. I think this is one that I just picked up. I'm pretty sure it is. So this is my favorite quick and easy quilt to make. It's just a throw size quilt. These are fabrics I got from Connecting Threads, I believe. They're kind of 30s-ish. And it's just these large tumbling blocks. So there's lots of designers or companies that make these tumbling block templates, you know, like acrylic template that is sized for a layer cake square. But you can also like cut yardage and do it out of yardage, that's fine, or fat quarters or whatever. I think the one I used on this is from Missouri Star Quilt Company. I know that Lori Holt also has one, which she uses in some of her patterns specifically, I believe, but they're also, her template is smaller than I would like it to be. I feel like it leaves quite a lot of waste on a layer cake square. So I would rather use hers with like yardage. That's just me personally. I think this one, like I said, was from Missouri Star Quilt Company. It's just easy peasy. You just, you know, cut down your fabric into these tumbling blocks. This is like a really healthy throw size. I do 10 tumbling blocks wide by 8 tall. So you end up with a nearly 80-inch long quilt, not quite, maybe 76 or whatever, because you lose seam allowances. If I added a couple more rows on, this would be a great like full-size quilt. But yeah, it's quick and easy to put together. It's very much my style, just kind of like scrappy and old-fashioned, not too fussy. And it's great, like, so I've made it before, and I've shown it before. You can't see it, but I have one hanging there behind. That's a Turtle Dove quilt. There's one hanging underneath. That's the same pattern. If you have like one layer cake, sorry, I tossed this. I have like a chair that rocks, and I tossed this on the back of it, and apparently it was one quilt too many, and the chair tipped back and hit the sliding glass door that's behind it. So apparently there is such a thing as too many quilts, at least for that chair. Anyway, if you have a layer cake and you're like, I don't know what to do with it, right? Like it's not really enough for a good sized quilt. I don't know, pattern use, whatever. So I did one of those, the one that you can't see right now. Because I did it by adding yardage. I took a white, it was like a low volume kind of fabric, and I cut, so I had the 42, you only need 80 squares to do it the size that I've been doing it. So I took the 42 from the layer cake, and I added 38 from the yardage, and I had my 80 tumbling blocks to make a quilt. So that's another thing you can do, is just add something into the mix. If you've got a layer cake that you're like, I don't know what to do with. And then I think this is the last one. Did I show you guys this before? If I didn't, then this is the last one I have to show you. My son Logan helped me with this quilt. Which side's up? It's rectangular, but only barely. I guess the other side's up. Technically, this is the side that's up. Try to stand back so you can see. Again, it's very simple. Very me. This was a Connecting Threads kit. Connecting Threads tends to be, because they're not, in my opinion, the fabric the fabric they manufacture is not as nice as like a Moda or Riley Blake. but it is nicer than a lot of what you find in like Joann's and like big box stores, in my opinion. So connecting threads tends to be my like late night guilty shopping, right? Like I just want to shop, I just want to buy something, but I can't spend a lot of money because they also put their kits on clearance a lot. And you can pick up some pretty nice stuff for not a lot of money. So anyway, that's why I have a lot of connecting thread stash. But anyway, it was simple. My son Logan helped me assemble some of these. I didn't show you what I put on the back of things. That's okay. I put wide backs on almost everything because I don't like piecing my backs. I don't like feeling the seam. Like the seam, like if you're under a quilt on the couch and like your toes hit the seam. For some reason, I don't mind hitting the quilting lines. I don't like hitting the seam of a pieced back. Anyway, I put Minky on the back of this one. If you've watched my other quilting videos, my son Liam, who has like some sensory situations going on, I made him a quilt with Minky on the back of it because he just needs something like super soft. My son Logan loves like those printed, he calls them velvet, but like those printed blankets you can get like everywhere that are made of just like the polyester fleece. That's basically the Minky. Excuse me. So Logan had helped me with this one, so I put Minky on the back of this one as well, just kind of to like honor him. So he would have one that he could kind of claim for his. I'm sorry if the stand with my phone rocks at all. I'm experimenting with trying to get, like usually, like, so my tripod puts the camera too low if I'm standing. So I need a good way to raise the tripod up, and I'm having trouble finding a good method of doing this. Right now, the tripod is balanced on top of Freya's crate. There's some like fleece dog blankets on top of the crate, and I have the tripod on top of there. And anyway, so you might shake or you might hear me accidentally bump the crate and hear the rattling of the crate. Okay, so those are my like 100% finishes, right? They're quilted and being used and loved at my house. I think since my last video. I also, so if you watch me, you know we have a cabin that I like to go to. I have a craft room there, and lately I've been really in the mood to like go to that craft room and see what I can get done, like see what I can finish. So earlier this fall, I had this Lori Holt quilt that I'd been working on, and it was just taking a long time. And I was like, I'm just gonna go and see if I can finish it. And I did. Actually, I almost did. I needed to come home to put the borders on, like the last two borders, but the rest of it was done. This is the Baked with Love quilt, and it was a kit from Lori Holt. I don't, what's the name of her collection? It was Happy House, I don't know. It wasn't cookbook, which was just here. This was further back than that. And I had the kit for ages without working on it. But it's really big. Oh my goodness. So that's the bottom. How many rows of ovens do I have? 4? Is it 4 by 4? 1, 2, 3. Yep, 4 ovens tall by 4 ovens wide. And so after it's quilted, you put buttons, 2 on either side of this, to be like the knobs on the oven. So this is like the towel hanging off the bar of the oven and like the window of the oven. And one of my kids loves cooking, baking. He takes like classes and things. And anyway, this seemed to be a really good, what am I saying? A really good fit for him, something he'd really love. And it was fun to do. It wasn't difficult. These ovens just have like a ton of pieces. Like even like this little guy You had to do the corner square triangles to make it turn it into an octagon, and then those pieces, and then the side pieces, and there's just so many pieces. So, anyway. That is ready. Well, I need to trim some threads. I tend to wait until the last minute to do that. But other than trimming the loose threads, it is ready to go once the long armor is done with my Lone Star quilts. And I tend to like, when I see backings I grab them for my stash, and then I try to pull from there first. If I, to find a backing for a quilt, I'm going to use this, which has that kind of 30s hexy feel to it. The blue, I think the shades of blue will work well with what's in the quilt. It's a wide back, because I hate piecing my backs. I actually don't mind piecing the back, I just hate the way it feels, as I explained earlier. So that's gonna go to the long armor. Okay. I just have a lot to show you. And I don't want to there's lots of pieces of quilts, and I don't want to, mix them up or mess them up. I think what I'll show you next is my Marquees, because there's an E on the end, Marquees quilt kit from Tula Pink. I have made progress. I don't know if I can get. Okay, yeah. So there's 4 rows of diamonds to this quilt. I am almost done with a 3rd row. Yesterday, actually, I was working on assembling the diamond that'll go right there. So I need to get that last diamond in, and then I can do the white and gray stripe, and then I'll be on the last row of diamonds. This is English paper pieced. I don't know if I explain things well enough, because I know some of you, right? I know some of you, and I know you keep coming back to watch my videos, but I kind of assume you remember things, and I don't know that I should do that. And then of course there might be new people showing up. I should do a better job explaining. But anyway, these are just elongated hexagons, English paper piece. This came as a kit quite a long while ago. You could, if you want it, you could always try the secondary market. And when I've Googled it, I haven't found any listings for it. I think it's long gone. But yeah, if you're interested, that's what it is. And I'm hoping every year, I'm like, I'm gonna get it done this year. I'm gonna get it done this year. And it's still not done. But hopefully I'll keep making good progress on it. And it'll be done before too long. Okay, so I actually kind of got organized. Like, I've gathered things together to talk to y'all about. And again, we're just hitting the highlights. Like, this is not everything I'm working on. Okay, next, I'm going to show you, so, I said we've been going to the cabin, and I've been, like, trying to get things done. So we went to the cabin over winter break for a few days, and I was like, I'm going to get as many quilt tops done as I can. And for a brief shining moment, I was like, I bet I can get 3 quilt tops done. That did not happen. I don't know what I was thinking. But I did come close enough to getting 2 of them done that I decided to bring them back here with me. Because usually things either stay at the cabin or they stay here, especially for my quilting, and they don't mix. But if something's almost done, I might take it back and forth to like finish it up. So I got 2 quilt tops that were close enough to being done that I brought them here to finish up. I haven't done that yet, but I came close. Okay, so the first one is from this Turning 20 book. Back in the day, so I feel like back when I was starting to quilt, like really quilt. So I taught myself how to quilt without a local quilt shop back in like 2004. And then when we moved to Florida in 2009, I had a local quilt shop, and that's when like I really started quilting, right? Like I learned how to do things the proper way. I learned how to use a rotary cutter, because I was doing things the old-fashioned way before that. When I started quilting, at least at my local quilt shop, this Turning 20 quilt was like everywhere. It was like the quilt of the moment. And it's not typically my style, I would say. I feel like the sorts of quilts that you look at and it kind of takes you a minute to figure out, like the block, like when they're really random like this, that's not, I usually like things that are a little bit more regular and obvious, like repeating structure. But my quilt shop, I didn't know that when I bought this because I didn't have like a quilting style yet. I just was like, do everything, right? Am I the only one that went through that? Probably not. Anyway, this was everywhere. It felt like everyone was doing this quilt. My quilt shop had put together a bunch of different kits, like kits with different fabrics to do it out of. So I had this kit sitting around forever, and finally I was like, hey, maybe I should actually get that quilt done, right? That would make sense. So this is out of an old fig tree line, and I've got, I don't remember which size. The book has lots of different sizes. I think this is like the full size. It's really quite large. I still need to press, do I still need to press the rows? Yeah, I still need to press the rows. This is just, I loved the line. When they put the kit together, that's what pushed me over the edge to get it, because I love the line. Like, this is just this beautiful, like a beautiful fall kind of feel to it. And I am, I'm a green and purple kind of person, and also love blues. There's not tons of green in the middle, but there's a border that goes on, and there's the border fabric, which still has its selvage, so I could tell you the fabric line. This is cornucopia. Other people who make videos go through this, right? Where you live your whole life assuming you know how a word is pronounced. And then you go to say it on camera, and you're like, have I ever actually heard that word before? How is it pronounced? Cornucopia. Cornucopia just doesn't sound right. Like, it's not supposed to be the U in there. Cornucopia. Sorry. You know what I'm talking about, though. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, this is that line. I love how it's turning out. Whoop, sorry, I just shook you. So I just need to, I just need to press the seams in between the rows and get that outer border on, and then I will be good to go. My husband is going to be coming home, just to warn you. So you might hear him like coming through the door. He knows I'm filming. Our front door is right through there. I closed that pocket door to try to minimize the disturbance, but you still might hear him. Okay, so that's my Turning 20 quilt. And I'm hoping to take that to the Long Armor along with the Baked with Love quilt with the ovens, the Lori Holt one, because it's just a border. Like, even if she calls me and tells me my quilt's done and I can go pick it up the next day, because I tend to drop quilts off at the same time and pick them up. I don't need to like make an appointment, but I just switch things out when I go pick stuff up. Even if she calls and she's like, it's ready, you can come tomorrow. I hate putting borders on quilts, but I can do it very quickly, so that needs to be done. So another thing, that the other quilt top that I almost got done at the cabin is what I'm going to show you. And literally just yesterday, the last couple days I've been doing tons of organizing and cleaning. I've been I did like a ton of mending, right? Like my kids, like a leg comes off a stuffed animal or a seam is opening up and I have them just go put everything on my sewing table. I went through the other day and I did all of that mending get all that crud off my sewing table. I've been putting together pin cushions that have just been cut out and sitting there and waiting to be put together, because I tend to give out pin cushions at retreats. Not Queen City, because I'm giving out everything there, but like I'm going to Stitch North this year, and I tend to give out pin cushions to like friends and as a table gift and whatnot. So I'm putting pin cushions together. I've been trying to take care of like little, like smaller tasks, right, that can help clear out space. All of that to say, yesterday, as I was working on this quilt a little bit, I was like, oh, I don't need the cover sheet with a picture of the quilt anymore because I'm almost done with the quilt, and I threw it away. And now I'm filming this video. Anyway, this was a Jolly Bar kit that I got from the Fat Quarter Shop. It's with Fig Tree's Catalina line. That's hard to see. That's what the quilt's supposed to look like. You're going to get a good idea in a minute, though, because a lot of my blocks are done. In case you're not familiar, Fat Quarter Shop does this is like an exclusive pre-cut to them with Moda, where it's 5 inches by 10 inches. It's a little silly because sometimes they will have like a kit that requires 2 Jolly Bars, and then I'm like, well, isn't that just a layer cake pattern? But they put out, usually if you buy a Jolly Bar, it comes with a pattern. And I don't remember if this was like, no, it was a whole kit because I have the packaging for it. This was a whole kit that came with like the background and the binding and all of that. So let me show you what I got. I've got some of the blocks. So when I was at my cabin, how many blocks are there? I want to say there's 20. There's not even 20. There's only a dozen blocks. It's not a huge quilt. It's going to be 56 by 74 when it's done. So there's only a dozen blocks. And when I was at my cabin, I got to the point where I had all of this section put together, all of the top section, and then the bottom section. So all 12 blocks I had gotten down to being in just 3 pieces, the middle, the top, and the bottom. And was like, okay, I'm taking that home. I need to finish it. Plus it's beautiful. It's helping my mood because I, like, once we're past New Year's, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for spring. I enjoy winter, but it's the one I struggle with the most. Plus, can I just say, so I'm in Pittsburgh, right? It was 7 degrees this morning. My children had a snow day yesterday after a 3-day weekend. Then they had a snow day, and then this morning had a 2-hour delay. I've had enough of having my children home for school since COVID. They do like, so they get 1 snow day, and then after that they move to these flexible instruction days. And I'm sure a lot of you, if you have kids or grandkids or nieces and nephews, you have something similar going on, right? Basically most snow days are a thing of the past. If they have to call off school, then kids have to do school from home because they've got their laptops, their Chromebooks, their whatever, and they can do it from home. I didn't want to do that today. I was like desperate for them to go back to school. I have not had alone time in so long between winter break and anyway, none of that has anything to do with quilting other than the fact that it helps prevent me from quilting to have everybody up in my space all the time. Anyway, here's one of the blocks. I still need to press those 2 seams, but there's one. I'll show them to you. And I'll find out how many of them I still need to finish. 2. Oh, that's hard to see, that middle print there. That one. It looks a lot better in person. In the camera, it looks like that's all white, and that was a lot of unnecessary piecing. But in person, it's really obvious that this is a print. Number 3. Some of these I definitely like more than others. It was a little bit of a challenge to distribute the fabrics between the blocks the best way. And I'm sure I didn't do it the best way, but right, trying to keep like a nice balance. I really like this one. I love this print. This is just such beautiful fig tree. I really do like fig tree fabrics. This one's number 4. I really like this one. I love this blue. I really love it. I wish I'd gotten more of this line. I was at a quilt shop that had a fat quarter bundle maybe a year ago, and I was like, oh, I want it so bad, right? But I really shouldn't get it. I definitely don't need it. I kind of wish I got it. Wish I had a bolt of something in that blue. I love that shade of blue so much. All right, number 5. And I kind of tried to stay away from this color scheme. I think this is the only block that's quite like this, so I just didn't want it to be like too primary color, right? Like red, yellow, blue. But I did lay things out and try to, you know, get, so because I had a stack of these, of this sort of component, I had a stack of the center and I had a stack of these. And it, you know, it was like a puzzle, like you move them all around and try to figure out what you want going with what to make the best assembly you can. And this is, I don't know that you want me holding it there for that long, but I like looking at it. So that was number 5. Okay, so I'm halfway, this is number 6. I'm halfway done assembling these blocks. I really like this one. I love this aqua. And I love little gingham. I like small gingham more than big gingham. So there's that. And then I'm in the middle of putting this one together because I have a seam pinned. That's gonna be one. I'll just show you the components. So this is one. The next time I do a video, this quilt should be done. It might be back, depending on when I do a video, it might be waiting to go to the long armor, it might be back from the long armor, I don't know, but should be done. So the one with the red print is the middle of the block. The other reason I don't like, or one of the main reasons I don't like traveling with things like back and forth between the cabin and my home here, if there's little pieces, like I feel like every time you take it somewhere, you're risking losing something. But these were in big enough pieces, you know, that, oh, I really like this combination. These were in big enough pieces that I didn't feel like it was, you know, like it was a big deal. When I had this cut out and I had like all these little squares and everything, I wouldn't have wanted to take it everywhere because I had all of these stacks of like different size pieces and I wouldn't have wanted to risk something going missing. And this is the last one, which is very red and green, but I think there's also peach and blue in there. If I did a whole quilt like this, it might read kind of Christmas, but with all the other blocks in there, I'm not worried that somebody's gonna be like, oh, that's the Christmas block. So there's that. Okay, so my 2 biggest priorities, quilting wise, for like personal quilting are to keep working on the Tula Pink quilt. That's a given. And then to finish those 2 quilts that I showed you, the Turning 20 and the one in the Fig Tree Catalina. I want to get those done so they're ready for the long armor. Okay, now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm still talking about quilting, but I'm going to be talking about quilting that is related to the fabrics I'm dyeing at Oak Crown Studios. And you're actually even going to get a little sneak peek here in a bit. So, in case you don't know, in September I opened Oak Crown Studios. It is my fabric dyeing company. So I dye cross-stitch fabrics using fiber reactive dyes, and it's so fun. I'm dyeing a lot of cross-stitch fabric, but I also want to dye quilting fabric. And I don't know to what extent there's other people out in the world that want to use my quilting fabric or hand-dyed quilting fabric, but I love it. And to me, they make the perfect blenders. They have that, like, there's variation without too much going on. I love them. And I'm going to show you some quilts and stuff that I'm working on with them here in a minute. So, like, I love, like, grunge. So I love Moda grunge. I love using it. What I don't like about it is that it's embossed. That's when there's, like, that plasticky coating to add some of the print or color to it. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it's not my favorite either. I prefer a fabric that's not embossed when possible. And the fabrics I've been dyeing are not embossed. And I actually have some plans to work with some embossed fabrics, but that gets around kind of one of the holdups I have with grunge. Also, I can do whatever I want with it, right? I don't have to be like, oh, if only grunge had a shade that was in between this and this, I can make it. I can do whatever I want. If I want a fabric that's green and purple, I can get a green and purple blender. I can do anything. So I've been having a ton of fun dyeing quilting fabrics. And I'm trying to get other people excited about this because it's so fun. So I'm making some quilts with my hand-dyed quilting fabrics. So that's what I'm gonna show you. The first one I'm working on, this is, I don't think I'm showing anything I shouldn't here. This is a static age quilt. I will try to remember to link this when I upload the video. So there's two versions you can do. I'm doing the scattered bolts. They just look like lightning bolts. So I was spending some time looking through websites and like looking for quilt patterns that might look particularly good with just these hand-dyed fabrics I've been doing. And I had, some of you will know, if especially if you watch my Instagram feed, I put together this fat quarter bundle of my hand-dyed fabrics recently that I was in love with, and I needed to turn it into something. And I ended up turning it into this. Well, it's not done yet. I'm working on it. But I'm going to show you how the blocks are turning out. So these are in two different stages of completion here. So these, I haven't trimmed off the tail yet. But this is like one half of the bolt. So I've got the green, I've got the peach, and all of these are made with my hand-dyed fabrics, which just makes me so happy. Got a blue. I gotta figure out the best way to hold all this. Yellow. These just are half square triangles at the moment. Ooh. And what I've put with it is the Riley Blake white linen. If you're interested, if you don't know about it or where to get it, I can help you out. I love it. I love sewing with their linen. It gives your quilt like a little bit extra texture. It's not difficult to work with. And it's just, it gives, like, you can kind of see the texture in it. You can see a little bit of slubbiness. And it just gives a little bit more than working with like a plain white fabric. So these are the colors that are going to end up in my rainbow am I doing scattered bolts? Yeah, scattered bolts quilt. This one's taffy. Oh my god, that's really blowing out. Is that better? If you guys want me to tell you what any of the specific colors are, just let me know. I'll try to remember to list them below. It's so pretty. I think that last one was Lilac Festival. This one's not showing up well, but this one's Fairy Moon. This one's Haze. This one is Fish Free. I remember some of them. And this one's Kiwi. I should have told you all of them as I was going. My apologies that I didn't. So I'm working on that. And it's a pretty easy quilt. So the blocks are just, I have the half square triangles. I need to add, so once you have the half square triangle, you then add this piece to make it, see, it used to be half square triangle. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Turn it over. It used to be a half square triangle. And then you sew this other white piece on the side. I need to trim it back to size, and then you sew two of those together. And then there's like just white background pieces you put in between the bolts to get them spaced. that way. And that's it. So it's not too bad. I just need time to sit down and do it. Okay, so there's that. I have plans. I have some plans that I'm not going to share yet for some other things that I want to do with my fabrics. I've shown you guys in, I think my last video, I showed you a English paper piecing, like a quilt of stars that I'm doing with an indigo dyed background. That's still on my list. I'm doing that too. I haven't made progress on it, so I didn't bring it down here to show you. There's a couple of like collage style quilts that I have in mind, using one of them using only my hand-dyed fabrics and the other one using partially my hand-dyed fabrics. I'm not sure when those are going to come to fruition, and I'm not they're designs that I'm making up, and I'm not super confident in my skills. So keep your fingers crossed for me that those go well. I also have a handful of other quilt patterns that I picked up because I think they would show off my hand-dyed fabrics pretty well. And so I'm thinking about doing these. I'm going to finish the Scattered Bolts quilt first, and then I'm going to pick another one of these to start working on. If you guys have like a favorite that you really want to see me do, let me know in the comments, because I'm very interested. And I'm going to show you some of the hand-dyed fabrics, the yardage here in a minute. So this one is from Buttermilk Basin. It's called, it's just called Flowers Quilt. So the reason I picked this one is for a couple of reasons. One, I have a lot of fabrics already, but also it's easy to do if I don't already have it, to get like a lighter and darker shade of a similar color, which is basically what you need for the flowers. And I've got lots of greens that I really love. So I actually have a lot of colors that aren't up on the website yet for Oak Crown, because you know what, everything takes time. I make a fabric or a color that I love, but then I need to try to dye it in each of the bases, and then I need to get it scanned, and I need to get it loaded in the description and color match with DMC, and it all takes time. And my biggest priority is always getting customers their fabric. So it all takes time. And so sometimes uploading new colors and stuff isn't the first thing I'm gonna do, because I wanna make sure customers are getting their colors. But anyway, I'm excited about this. I think this could end up looking really, really nice. I don't know what I do about the background and lattice work. I don't know. I have ideas, just haven't made any decisions. And I picked up, so again, I haven't loaded them on the website yet, but I bought multiples of each of these because I intend to do each of these eventually, and I want to be able to have them available if any of you guys want to also make them available for sale. So if any of you are interested in these, just message me and I can sell you one of the patterns too. If you want, I don't want this channel to be about like me trying to sell you my stuff. Obviously I'm selling things now, but that's not why I want you guys here. So please don't ever feel like that's what I'm trying to do, because that's not my purpose at all. But if you're interested, I do have some of these. So this one I'm very interested in doing because of that dark background. I think I want to use, now I'm already using an indigo background for the English paper piece quilt I'm doing upstairs. So I probably wouldn't use the indigo dyed fabric for this, but I do have some, I'm going to show you, I have some really pretty deep blues that I think might look really good. And I have a couple more kind of planned dyes that might look really, really good as a background. The other thing I can do is use Riley Blake, the linen that I love that they make. I think it's a linen, it's like a 50-50-ish linen cotton blend. They have a really dark gray, like it's a really dark charcoal gray. And I think that would also look really good as a background here. And then I feel like it would show off, my husband's coming home. I don't know if you can hear him. It would show off some of my hand-dyed fabrics really nicely. It would be fun to pick. Does anyone else just love picking colors and like color combinations? Picking like fabrics to go together for the stars. It's just 2 fabrics each. It would be really fun. And I already know what I'd use for the moon. You guys are gonna notice the theme. You can tell I love stars. Tell I love stars. But again, I love this. I've been getting more and more into like that rainbow aesthetic lately. And especially when, for my own fabric, if I have to like pick something to use, it's far easier to pick, you know, how many are in there? 11. It's far easier to pick 11 shades than just a couple. So I think that would be really fun. And same thing, I could use one of my really dark hand dyes as the background, or I could use a print, because you don't need to only use the hand-dyed fabrics, right? They go really well with other stuff too. Again, that Riley Blake charcoal gray, I could use a solid, a print, like anything. Really dark for the background. So that's another one that I'm considering. This one I don't have any others of, because I don't, well, I just don't. So the ones I've showed you so far, my, one of my, like just one of the distributors I use, one of the wholesalers I use, had them. And so I, you know, grabbed a few. This one I grabbed retail, so I just have the one, but kind of same thing, right? Like I can totally see that in my hand-dyed fabrics. I think that'd be really fun, and I love applique. Although this, I don't think I would do, I don't think I would do needle turn. I might. I love needle turn applique. It also says it has English paper piecing. I wonder where the English paper piecing happens. I don't know, I haven't opened it to read it yet. But I saw it and loved it. And then the last one, I have a few of. And this is, I think, a relatively new pattern. I think this came out with a recent fabric line, Floral Gardens. This is Riley Blake, Floral Gardens fabric line was what was used, and it's beautiful, but same thing, I think I could see this in my fabrics. And so like, this is another thing that happens, right? And it's not necessarily a problem, but like this was a large scale print that cut down that much, adds additional texture to that flower, which may be something you want, or it might be something you don't want, depending on what you're going for. But I can totally see these flowers with the amount of variation that's in the fabrics that I've been dyeing. I'm very excited about. Eventually, I'm going to try all of these. We'll get there. So I'm gonna, if you're not interested in seeing Oak Crown fabric, you're welcome to hop out. I'm going to show some of my fabrics, because I have a bag. I have a bag of fabrics. So I usually dye, I'm just going to chat about them for a minute. I usually dye a yard at a time. I actually have been cutting like a 37-inch yard to help account for shrinkage. I haven't even measured one to see what it really comes out. But I'm finding, so I'm ripping the fabric, and for those of you who haven't experienced this, I still remember the first time I went into a quilt shop and they tore my yardage. I was like, what are you doing? Instead of cutting it. But it gets you like a perfect straight of grain cut to tear the fabric. So I've been tearing my fabric. That's been preventing fraying. So if I've torn it, I'm not serging it. I can just throw it in the washing machine. Oh my gosh, there's just so much. All right, so there's gonna be some sneak peeks in here because a lot of these, especially on the top, these are, some of them are colors that, wow. I haven't even seen them in a while. Some of these are colors that, words, Amy, I haven't loaded onto the internet yet. And that's because I need to dye them. Each of them I have a sample on linen, but I don't have a sample on Aida or on Lugana. So once those are done and I get them scanned, I'll get them up on the website. And I'll probably make an announcement then when that happens. But here's some of my fabrics. So this is one that might work as a background of some of those patterns we were just looking at. This one's called Inkwell. This one's Canopy. This one is definitely going to be used for some leaves and stems. I love it. It's like the perfect, like, leafy green to me. Oh, it's beautiful. My husband helped me name them, by the way. This one's Spilled Sherry. And I love it. It's so vibrant. This one's Peony. This one's Full Bloom. This one's Phantasm. I also really like this one. Okay, my husband named this one. You're likely to either think the name is brilliant or maybe offensive. I hope it's not offensive. This one's Florida Man. It cracked me up when my husband came up with that, and then it had to happen. This one is gonna get loaded sooner rather than later because I'm actually dyeing it right now, today. For Maggie, this one is AKA Kitschy Whips. And it's fantastic. And of course, named for Maggie, AKA Kitschy Whips, who I do the Queen City Stitch Retreat with. Okay, we've got more. Overalls. Oh, isn't that good? That's another good option for a background. It's like a nice, deep kind of denim blue. It's really good. Pause one moment. Hey, Scott. Freya's ready and her leash is in my car. If you want to go get her, you can. Otherwise, I'll be done within 10 minutes probably. Her leash is in the passenger seat of my car. Nope, they have her leash. I lied. Her sweater is in the passenger seat of my car. But you don't have to take it unless you want to. Okay, this one you would know. Stones, well, you would know. Like you've memorized my website. But this is the one that's on the website. This is Stone's Throw. I don't want to give anything away. This one's Tide Pool. Lagoon. And there is a difference. It's a little more green and gray. But like, it's just so fun, right? Like, just like when you walk into a quilt shop and it's like a wall of like paints, right, that you get to work with. I'm just kind of, I'm getting the same vibe from dyeing fabrics. Dyeing quilting fabrics is so fun. This one's Stormwatch, which I absolutely love. This one's Fern, which will also be great for leaves. It's a lot greener. I feel like in the camera it's just showing blue. It's not blue. I mean, there's like blue to it. That's a little bit better. A little bit. It's much more green than it is blue. So all the cross stitchers out there that might love my fabric but don't watch my quilting videos because they're not into quilting, which is totally fine. But they're not gonna get the sneak peek. Okay, that's it. The rest of the fabric that's in there, well, I said that, but yeah, that's right. The rest of the fabric that's in there is oh, what's it called? The rest of the fabric in there is fabric that's already up on the website. So these are the colors that are in the Scattered Bolts quilt. I'll just read them because they're right here with their tags. There's Lilac Festival. These are what's left of my fat quarters. Peony. Maggie. I'm trying to stack things nicely and it's not going so well. This is Coral. Baby dragon is coming next. Baby dragon. Taffy. Sunflower. Kiwi. Oh, I was wrong. It wasn't fish free. It was morning dew. Morning dew. Get rid of this alert. Clear skies. Haze, which does not photograph well at all. In person, it's a lot less blotchy. It's definitely just like a hint of kind of a purpley gray blue kind of thing going through it, but not quite so sharply contrasted. And fairy moon. I will probably say it every time I film, but especially hand dyeing, like I'm definitely seeing how the camera tends to, at least my camera, tends to increase the contrast between shades in a fabric more than anything. What else? I think that's about it. Here's all those, here's the yardage. It's kind of like having my own quilt shop in my house. It's so fun. Yeah, it's so fun. And I dyed, I kind of had a method to how I was doing this, and I wanted to see how like small changes or you know, certain changes affected the color of a fabric. And so I was dyeing them, and then I was like, I wasn't expecting to keep them all. But then I was like, but they're all a little bit different. And I feel like the camera's making them look a little more, well, no, they're pretty similar. But there's definite differences between them, right? Like one's a little more gray, one's a little more green, one's a little brighter, one's a little more subdued. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna put them all. I'm gonna do them all and put them up on the website and make everybody's decisions harder. Is basically how I'm going about this. Okay, I think that's it. I hope you guys are all doing well. I don't know what anyone's up to because I haven't had time to watch FlossTube or quilting videos. I keep thinking, like I'll sit down and I'll manage to watch a video and I'll be like, I'm back. I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna see what people are doing. It's gonna be great. And then it doesn't happen. And then I'm like off YouTube again for like a week. But I'm trying very hard because I want to catch up. I want to see what other people are doing. I find what you guys are doing to be inspiring. I hope, you know, you're finding some of what I'm doing to be inspiring. I don't know, because that's like one of the best parts of FlossTube and quilting videos is just like, right, you see somebody do something and you want to, it makes you want to do something. Maybe not exactly what they're doing, but it makes you kind of take it in a different direction. And I just love that feeling of like creative juices flowing. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing great. I hope your 2024 is off to a great start, and hopefully I will be back soon. Bye.